Good afternoon, I'm Angela Oliphant. Oh, hang on. Good afternoon, I'm Angela Oliphant. I'm the Director of Eden Medical Retreat Lombok. We are a specialist retreat which treats people with substance abuse, whether that be alcohol, methamphetamine, heroin, opioid addiction, any of the vices that people find themselves addicted to, we're able to treat. We have a qualified medical team consisting of Victoria, who is the head psychologist, and we have doctors. I'm a registered nurse from Australia, and so we are very medically based. I'm inviting all of you that are out there to tune into us. We're here to educate and to offer assistance. So I'd like to hand over to Victoria, and she will introduce herself, and we will start talking about addiction.
Hi, I'm Victoria. Probably you'll see myself listing my name as Vika Valentina. So I'm the head psychologist here in the Eden Medical. And it's really my pleasure to be working with Angela and the whole team in Eden Medical Retreat, because everyone is a professional, and the most important thing is that everyone is passionate about what we are doing. In here, we are very passionate in helping people to get through their addiction and to get back on track into their normal life, where they can be responsible and getting back in touch with their many important aspects in their life. So besides from that, I will be only talking a little bit about my background. I come from just a very normal background, just like all of you, the audience here. So even though I might probably say that I'm a psychologist, but I do understand how it feels as a normal human being to go through the difficulties in life. And I do have a lot of empathy, and we do a lot of counseling here, and you will definitely not really having a holiday in here, because we do really take your cases seriously, and we are putting a lot of work into it. So let's get back into our topic today, which is the addiction, Angie.
Correct.
So in talking about addiction, there are three main questions on why you are watching today. And that's probably starting with, do you know anyone, or do you have addiction in your life? And most likely we all will say yes. Either we have that addiction, or probably we know someone who has that addiction. And the second question is, do you want to help that person? It might be you, or it might be another person that you know who has that addiction, to go through that addiction, to go back and to be function again. And most likely all of you will say yes, and that's why you're here and watching this video. And the third question will be, would you like to make that positive impact changes into their lives, or even probably that's your own life? So we're going back to Angie.
Hi, everybody.
So the first question is, Angie, we'll start with a very simple question in here, which is, what do you think and how do you describe in a very simple sentence about addiction?
Well, addiction is a situation where people cannot function without the use of external substances such as heroin, methamphetamine, stimulants, alcohol, and they take the drug to make themselves feel better and more confident. And then what happens is the drug takes control of them, or the substance takes control of them. So they lose direction, they lose control, and they suddenly find themselves in the cycle of addiction, which there's only two outcomes with addiction. It is either jail or death. And so it is a very, very serious situation globally. And we have set out to establish Eden Medical Retreat Lombok away from my normal home country, which is Australia, because in Australia it was so difficult to get approvals, and also we believe that it's very important to take people who have addiction issues away from their environment and put them into a new environment, and then we can start the reprogramming and helping them get themselves back on track so that they can go home and return to their families and children and become functioning individuals in their societies. So addiction is when someone is unable to function in their normal role due to taking external substances.
So, talking about addiction and the external substances, do they have to be in a form where they're addicted to this substance abuse or these substances? Does it have to be substances, do you think?
Well, I mean, there's all forms of addiction. There's gaming addiction. There's overeating, which is just, it's very dangerous, of course, because you get cardiac involvement and you can have a heart attack and you can die.
Wow.
But all of these things that people have with addiction, it's due to situations that have occurred prior. Now, we from Eden believe in dual diagnosis, so we actually look at people. 80% of the clients that come through here actually have a pre-existing psychiatric illness. Now, they may not have been recognised, or that may not have been recognised by a psychiatrist. We have a psychiatrist as a consultant here, Dr. Danang, and he's been able to pick up these diagnoses on clients that has been completely missed from their home countries. And this has actually been life-changing. So I think that addiction is something that destroys the essence of the person. And I think it's almost cellular. And I think that it overtakes their complete being. And they start forgetting about the impact that they're having on their children, their families, their peers, the loss of financial stability, the loss of love, the loss of breakdown of marriages. All these things are so huge. And really, the only way for anyone to stop suffering from addiction is to stop. It's a very simple word, stop. But it's one of the hardest words in the English language that people can do, because it is so overpowering, the emotional reliance on these substances. So we understand that, and we, have been, I personally, as a registered nurse, have seen a lot of breakdown of family structures and foundations due to drug abuse. And nobody goes untouched. It has no socioeconomic boundaries. I personally have got 2 family members who are really struggling against their addiction with drugs, and they're only young. They're at university, but they're struggling. And they have high IQs, but they have pre-existing psychiatric conditions, which we are onto. But what I'm saying is, it has no boundaries. So it doesn't matter whether you're a lawyer or a road sweeper. You love your children in the same manner and you will fight for them. And when a child becomes addicted or a family member becomes addicted, it is absolutely vital that the families continue on with the support. Because once they come to a place like Eden, and we're able to reprogram and teach them new ways of responding to situations and ways of looking at life through cognitive behavioural therapy, which Victoria is a specialist in, and the 12 steps, and DBT and hypnotherapy, then they are able to go home. Now, when they go home, they must have their parents or their family members on the same page. And we actually do a lot of counselling with the families. Obviously, some families are irretrievably broken down, but we do try and work with that to bring them together. So on discharge from Eden, they're going back and everybody's on the same page. So addiction is a very tragic situation, because most of the people that have the substance addiction do not have the insight. And they are in denial. As I say, the catch cry of an addict is deny, deny, deny. And there's so many people that deny the fact that they've got substance abuse.
That's very interesting. So, may I just summarize it into 3 main points on how can we recognize whether someone is getting into the addiction or not? The first point that I'm getting is that the main points in their life has become all about using. The second one is that they can no longer being apart from their substances or the things that they are addicted with. Maybe it's a behavior like gaming, or maybe overeating, or maybe even it's something else. Maybe it's sexual addiction. And the third thing is the main important thing, because it's no longer related only to themselves alone, but it is actually starting to affect their external world, where it has the people that they love, which means the third aspects will be that they start to lose touch or lose control of many aspects, many important aspects in their life. And that includes work, responsibilities, career, study, financial responsibilities, managing their own time, managing themselves, health, and even their own family, which is the one who gets hurt and being used by them.
Yeah, I'd like to just add to that. When people have alcohol or become alcoholics, or whether they become drug addicts, if they are parents, they generally cannot function in a normal role as a parent, and the child becomes damaged. And this is what we talk about, intergenerational damage for families. So, you know, if you go through a family history, you will find that if someone is presenting with alcoholism, there will be a history back in the family, and I'm not saying it's hereditary, I'm saying it's familial. You will find that there has been someone else that has been presenting in their lives with the same form of addiction. So, you know, I think the most important thing for people to realise, if they're parents, is that the damage that they do to their children, because they're not 100% on the ball, there is security issues for children, there is safety issues for children, that whether they get fed properly is another instance. A lot of the time when people are on heroin or methamphetamine, they don't function in the same way as a normal parent, and they don't eat as well as most other people. And their children also suffer due to that, so they have poor hygiene, poor dietary intake, and then you start seeing disease. But children suffer from this, and I think that they are the victims in the addiction cycle. And what we try and do is when we have someone that has recognised that they have caused some damage with their children, we do offer to do counselling with the children. And I think this is important, to get the whole unit back together again. And people have to recognise that they have to apologise to the direct families, like as in the 12 steps, and say that they're sorry. People can have anything that they want on the other side of fear. Fear is what stops people. Denial and fear stop people from taking the step to get help. And sometimes you cannot do this on your own. You need to come into an in-house residential facility to get the assistance, the professional assistance that you need. So if you know of anyone that requires help, please don't hesitate to call us at Eden Medical Retreat Lombok, and you can either speak to myself as the director, you can look at edenmedicalretreat.com, and you can contact us. Victoria is also available to speak to, and we are not a hard sell group. We are here to help you and to save lives and to reconstruct the family unit. So if you need any help at all, please don't hesitate to call us.